Good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave weekly update for gold, silver, and platinum, being recorded on Monday, May the 26th at 10:45 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm going to start here on gold, and I'm on my maximum monthly chart, which I finally got back via Thinkorswim, because for a while it was not pulling up this chart for me, but hey, it's back. So again, I'm counting that we're in a cycle C wave up, and whether how that fits other people's long-term picture varies. More important, we're in a stronger five-wave push higher, and that's what I'm counting, and that would be off of the 1999 lows. So, and those are on 253. So from there, I'm counting five waves of primary degree, of which one and two are in. Then we start to break down within that third wave. First up would be intermediate degree. So within primary wave three, I'm looking for five waves of intermediate degree, of which I got one and two. And so within intermediate wave three, I'm looking for five waves of minor degree, of which I have one and two. And then within minor wave three, I'm looking for five waves of minute degree, of which I have one and two, and possibly we're into that minuet wave five to complete minute wave three. So we've subdivided once, twice, three times, four times. So this is a very powerful rally overall in gold. The rally began off of the low at 253. That's $253. Today, in this Globex session, and still trading, the market is trading at 3,341. Quite a rally. And according to how I'm looking at it count-wise, we still have quite a bit of rally to get through. Now, the count itself may begin to speed up a little bit. And so I'm going to come down out of this. I'm going to go right down to my daily. And well, actually, to show it, I need to actually start with the 5-year because it's so big. You know, I have to include the time factor. So here we're in minor three. Here we're in minute wave three. Here we are in now, I'm believing going to be minuet wave five. So last time I had counted that we had likely finished minuet wave three, and that would have been at the high at 35,009, almost 35,010. And from that level, I think I've got an ABC down. Now, this could still be in motion. This fourth wave may still be in motion because, again, what really hinges and what has been propelling it and not propelling it are the movements in the dollar. So the dollar's down again right now, but it started to pick up a little bit of steam from a couple of just how the markets were trading, how the bonds were trading, how this downgrade of U.S. Credit, how that's now playing out, how the trade wars are coming in, what's the movement within Bitcoin. There's so many factors are now being tied into the price of gold. And so it's hard to try to keep track of what they're going to pay attention to that particular day. So right now on the weekly chart, though, I've labeled the low from the 12th of May at 3,123 as the completion point for minuet wave four. So now I'm going to come down. I'm going to go right to my daily chart. There it is. And because this really comes down to look like 1, 2, all in on the same bar, 3, 4, 5, possibly. If I bring it down and I look on the hourly chart, I'm now up inside here. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, or I have 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, 5, and that's 3. So 1, 2, 3, right, with the third wave subdividing, as it should. So again, I'm going to leave open that this is another little 4. we come up one more time before we have that completion of this sub minuet first wave, or we're really, if we're getting into right now, we have one more wave for wave 3 of minuet wave 5, and then this is a 4, and then we're going to have a 5. Let me do it again. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 3 4, and then we're in 5. Yeah, could be, which case we're looking for it to kind of get it to bebop up and get itself above 35,000 actually. So need to back this out just a little bit. Let me go back out to the 4-hour. That's the high we want to break above in this wave 5. So that's why I'm considering, is this just going to be sub minuet wave 1 of minuet wave 5? Because by looking at it this way, right, that we have, now we got the fibs for minuet wave 5. First one, 100%, 3452, but I need to see it above 3,500. So that one just might be some resistance within this move. But the one that should play out is 1.618. And that is 3657. Now, the rest of them are kind of coming up to where we would be looking for for minute wave 3. Our first one is 3507, which basically has already been taken out. So, but it might be presenting a little bit of resistance again and not allowing this minuet wave 5 to get too much further above it. But if I had to, if it was going to go, then our next level there would be 3.882 for minute wave 3. And that one comes in at 3630. So again, looking for something above 3510. 3,510. And then we have for minor wave 3, I think it could be resistance, but I don't think it's going to be enough to complete minor 3, since we're still working on to complete minute 3. So this one, I think it's moved up, and so we're looking much higher, and we're looking up into here. So you see it starts to get very congested up here in terms of all of our resistance levels as they all start to cluster up, and the green and the red, those are primary and cycle degree. So ultimately, yeah, I think we can get ourselves above. I think the market can get itself above 4,000. This is before we're finishing up some of these upper levels. And again, we're talking third waves. So on a going back out, I'm gonna go back out one. I got primary 3. So we got a lot to kind of move through to get out there or to get up there. So again, we start to get those here, and we start to get more here at 42. So even the primary 3, but then I got to get that intermediate third in there. And right now it's kind of projecting up. But again, because we're going past so many levels initially, that I'm going to rely on these shorter term to help me guide what's finishing on the little bit larger structures. But just on a pure fib basis for primary, that makes sense. We got 39 to 42. And that would be for primary wave 3. And then from that level, I'm looking for pretty much a much larger corrective phase in a fourth wave. And then we're going to be looking, because by then we will have the intermediate 4th and then the intermediate 5. So we'll be looking for wherever that 4 ends up on the intermediate degree. That's where we're going to be looking for this primary wave 4 to come back into. So yeah, as we get up higher and that strength, look at this, straight up. It's very impressive, actually. So, but again, it continues to hold, and this is my monthly, but it continues to keep these fourth waves less than what one would expect. They're coming in a little bit shallow, just based on the underlying strength in the market right now. And that strength is coming from various angles, but still, it's there. All right. So let me just bring this back down to a daily. We're looking at our moving averages. They're all still looking very good. The 8 and the 20 kind of play intertwined with one another as we go through these corrective phases, but none of them have been able to challenge the strength of the uptrend right now. And that's coming via the 200, which is pretty on a very clean angle up, and that's the 200, excuse me, and the 50, which is also now picking up some pull and bringing some strength to the upside. All right, let's go over and take a look at silver, which actually is not doing all that bad, but seems a little bit stuck. Now, a little bit different count that we got going on here. Let me see if I can do it this way. There you go. Well, there, best I can get it. We're in a larger WXY. So here's the A, the B, the C. I don't know what happened to my B wave. There you go. A, B, C, W, and there's the X. So we're in this Y wave, which still projects actually that we're likely going to get up to between 30, 40, let's say just 40 and 46. Those are my levels for silver right now. Now, intertwined within all of that, let me get out of this monthly and come down to my 5-year weekly. We're still got that C wave, the intermediate C wave. Intermediate wave C will consist of 5 waves of minor degree, of which 1, 2, and 3, I believe, are done. I think we run a very high risk that the C wave is going to be a diagonal. So A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. So that being the biggest one, but see that nice rally that we got out of there on the from the April 7th low. Very nice. And so we got what we're stuck up here. So, and here is we're in minor wave 5, which could be 5 waves of minute degree. We've only done wave 1. I think we still could be within minute wave 2. We bring this down to the daily chart. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wave 1, ABC, possibly the 2 is done, but this needs to turn into 5. And then I got that, which kind of came down and didn't. Just overlapped it a little bit. Even if I pull it down and I put it on just a line chart, it looks a little bit better, but still so the 2 might be here, and this is 1, 2, and now we're working into 3. That's a possibility. Wave 2 did come down to 0.38, now 0.382. So that's a possibility, but I'm holding it open that they still might have one more because it's not substantially above that on the bar chart. We just kind of broke, excuse me, we just kind of broke above it on last week on the 22nd of May, but it dropped very quickly. So it's very questionable. So I'm leaving open the potential that the market may make one more trip down, and that support remains at 32.25 to 20, and then 31.75 to 31.70 down in there. And I would really anticipate that holding. If not, then this is still going to be like maybe 1, 2, 3, deeper 4 that I would want, and we kind of pull up and get ourselves above there to put in a small 5, then retreat again. But this would just be wave 1 of 3. I'm looking for this third wave to build. And with that in mind, I need to, I think, get rid of, yeah, these are all for that. So let me put in one more up here, which is going to give me a little bit of upside probability. So let me change that color. Let me put this in correctly so we can see it. And this is going to be for a third wave. So I'm automatically 618, 1.618, and get rid of those. Actually, 2.618 could work too. So out of this, if I'm looking for the third wave, 35.61, absolute bare bones minimum. And by then, it's just barely getting above these highs. And I would like to see it much stronger above those highs. So that would be first in line, 35.61. Then we have within the minute, we have 38. This is for minor wave 5, and it could work, but I would think we're going to get up a little bit higher. So I think 35 to 38 for this minute third wave. So that's going to be the precious metals need to kind of perk up a little bit here. And we'll see what might bring about that little bit of strength that we may have. They were up. Silver managed to hang on in the Goldex. So let's see if it can build on it. Outside of all that, we have that cluster up at 41 to 42, but I don't think that's going to be minute wave 3. I think 3 comes in maybe here. We get a 4, and then we come back up in a 5, and it'll be a different, might still be a, this whitish color, but it'll be a 5th wave versus a 3rd. So I think there is still upside left for silver. Again, it's, as we get up closer to these upper levels to complete this, I mean, I still got that upper at 46 to 48. Right now, I'm not necessarily looking for silver to go to a new all-time high, which would be above 50, and that's going back to 1980. But the 2011 high is 49. So 49, almost 50, 49.82. So I'm not necessarily looking for that, but I think we can get close. And so, like so many things that silver does, it spikes. So maybe it's going to spike in that minor 5th, which is where we are, but we might need it to be within the 3rd or the 5th of the minor 5th to spike up and give us that completion point for wave C. So we have first here, and the secondary is here. And I would love to see it up there, to be honest with you. Be a nice, beautiful pattern and very fitting, very clean to come up that high to finish wave Y. All right. Now let's go over and take a look at platinum. Platinum finally broke out of the triangle pattern. So let me bring it down to this one so we can see it more cleanly. Remember, we had that B wave triangle, but inside of it, we had an E wave form a triangle within the triangle. And that's not totally uncommon. It's not the most common position, but it happens, and we're seeing it again. So we are, in my estimation, within that intermediate C wave up. Now, that we've called for, but we've also called for it to break, thrust up and out of the triangle. It finally did. Took it a little while because this low to clean up that triangle was April 7th. So it took a month and a half, a month, maybe 2 months. Now, that was the week. So this is last week. It just rocketed. And not uncommon. We do have in May, we have a lot of other points where the market rallies in May. That was April. This one was April. That was February. Okay, so I'm on a weekly chart. But I've had some rallies in May. I'd have to go back to where we see them going out on my monthly. That might make it easier. But I have notated previously where we had these rallies coming up. And again, now we're going another one. But this is what they've got past that 0.236, which is the absolute minimum for that intermediate C wave. And now we have 382. And what we got is 618 and then 100%, where wave C would equal wave A. And that's way up there, way up there. We also have primary degrees out here. And that would be for primary wave B. So again, that would put it at a flat. Wave B would be at a flat to wave A. And it does kind of take it all the way back to there. But we have 1935 and we have 1650 in there as well for that C wave. So that one more realistic to me. like between 14 and 1600. And again, this is a multi-year long-term chart. So when I break it down and I bring it down to the 5-year, well, we got 1200, we have 1278, we have 1366, and that rally would be pretty strong. Under a third wave, 1, 2, 3 here, 4 and a 5. We get maybe that 3 up to here. So I am expecting the rally to continue in platinum. And we'll see how this all develops. Because again, this has been very chop. Just these beautiful rallies, and then it gives it all up. And if they do the same thing, it might be a little bit different of a pattern, but we're going to have to find out. We have to wait and see what develops for us here. So that's going to be it for the precious metals right now. Again, the one that I'm most associated with, of course, is gold, and then silver, and then platinum here on the outside. And the next weekly update will be, I'm trying to get them done by Sundays. Will be next weekend.